Right, we are going to try and fit or do a thing to help you fit a dash cam in your Defender. Several people have written to me and said, I'd like to fit a dash cam, and obviously they're cool because you can get like a rock tumbling down a mountain and all those other random things. They all seem to happen in Russia. Have you watched those videos, Tyler?
A lot of things happen in Russia.
A lot of things happen in Russia. No offence to the Russian peoples, our comrades there, but some random things do seem to happen in Russia if you watch YouTube. Sat-nav compilation videos, not sat-nav, dash cam. Right, so now obviously with a dash cam the trick is they're easy, you just stick them on, but you've got to get power to them, and there's two. You obviously need to get power. You need an earth and a battery voltage. Now some of them don't want a battery voltage, they want an ignition live, so it only comes on when you turn your car on, and that stops it flattening your battery while your car's just parked at night. So we are going to show you how to get some power, and then I've been working with our friend Bernard, who's an electrical wizard, and what we're going to try and do is in the same way we did on the DRL lights, when your car starts, your battery voltage actually goes from 12 volts ish to 14 volts ish. So I don't quite understand why dash cam companies haven't got onto this yet, but you could connect to a battery voltage, and if you had a little bit of clever circuitry, and if the voltage is below 14, turn yourself off, and then if it goes up to 14, wake yourself up. So we are going to try and develop the circuit, and we've got a prototype, but I'm just going to show you this just in case it helps you anyway, but it's sort of the first in a series of videos, and you can give us your input and tell you what you think. So now, there is power up here. Obviously, you can tell I haven't got my ignition on and I've got a light on. So obviously, we can't link it directly into the light because your dash cam had stopped when you close your doors. But there is power up here. So let's have a look. So I'm going to show you how to remove this overhead console panel. Now, I've done this before and I've forgotten how I did it, but it must be possible. Now, what do you reckon?
We're in a Defender, by the way.
We're in a Defender. We're in a Defender 2020. Now, you joke, Tyler, you joke, but this is the same overhead console as used in the Evoque and the Range Rover Sport and the Discovery Sport and loads of them. So this will actually help other people, I believe. So it is a more, whatever the word is, universal video. So, right, so you have your thing. Now, there is a little bit you get in behind here. I forget exactly where the clips are, but we'll have a look. Oh, look at that. Oh, spot on. Right then, let's have a look. We can't make it look too easy, can we? I think you might have to do some work, Tyler. Right, you ever got getting in that side, Tyler? Tyler's got his Christmas jumper on today, but it is Christmas. Oh, there's me looking at your jumper. We missed, right. So let's have a look. So we have got a spring clip. We've got a spring metal clip in this corner and your corner there also, Tyler, yeah? Oh, I don't know where I'm pointing this camera. And we've also got this funky little clip here. So have you got one of these, Tyler? Have you got...
Oh, I see what you mean, yeah.
So about here, and it goes over, there's a pin here. There's a little round pin that I cannot... We might have to colour that in. I think that's going to show. And basically it drops down. Now we've obviously got some power. Right, you take control again, Tyler. You're way better at the camera. Probably way better at taking stuff out. Now we can take this whole module out, and there's a connector here with a little pin. Sorry about that, there's a bit more light there. Look, push down on that pin. And I will give you a little disclaimer in a minute. So before you do this, watch the rest of this video. So that's the connector there, and look, you've got a little bit of a pressy thing there. That white mark, Tyler, do you know what that is? When they assemble it to prove they've done it, the next person in the production line has to put a white crayon on there to say they've checked the last person's work.
Oh.
There you go. It's often used in... They didn't use it on the gasoline particulate filter, but
so we should be looking for that mark.
We should be looking for that mark, because you see they've had to, and they make them do it because it goes across the two parts of the connector, you see.
Yeah.
And you would notice if it was missing because you'd struggle. Now, likewise, right now, this could cause your car some upset, because on here we have the SOS and the SOS and the call in the emergency services thing, you've broken down thing. Now that communicates with the telematics control module that's hidden somewhere secret in the car, and so I did have this disconnected before, and so it could cause a little recorded error message, but I don't think it's going to be too bad. But if you want to be really safe, you could just disconnect your battery while you do this. Now this loom, if we've got it designed right, should go in between this one here. Okay, there. Right, and it should clip in, hopefully. There you go. And then that will clip into this one here. And what that's going to do is that is going to parasitically, it's going to send all the signals through, hopefully, what would be called in the, and it will give us a positive and negative. And you can just reassemble all that, put that all back together. Now, and then you can use this as a power feed for a sat nav or anything else. But bear in mind, this is battery voltage, and we will test it in just a second. Now, I will digress a little. Right, so again, this is in the Defender, as Tyler correctly points out. I wanted to show you what a little trick you can do. So not only have you got access to a 12-volt supply here, bear in mind, I've checked and I can't see any ignition live. I can only see battery live wires here before you ask. But in the top of the roof here, can you see this little gap here, Tyler? Right, there's like this metal frame, and if you get above that and poke a ruler in, you should, with a little bit of wiggling around. Right, hold on. Right, so just to prove, so you can see now as I move my hand, you can see my ruler is coming through there. So you've got a route through. If you put a lead wire, you can get the cable through to the front of the headlining, which is where you want to mount your dash cam. So you'll have to fidget around a bit there, but it's not too tricky. Let me just actually show where I went, the route, the direction of travel. So if you come around this side, I sort of went out through there and down in there. You can actually go out the back here. You've got a good access round the side here. So you can poke quite through easy. So that is what we are working on to give you a power supply. So we'll go and check Bernard's circuit now, and let's see if he's managed to change it from battery positive to battery positive and ignition positive. Right, so as promised, I am going to check the voltage. So on these two wires, I've got the earth wire on that one. Don't touch them together because I haven't worked out which fuse is going to blow yet. Right then, touch those on there, and you can see on Tyler's display. And if I start the engine quickly, you can see the voltage there is raising slowly, although it seems to be settling down. We may have to be careful with that. It doesn't seem to have, it seems to be regulated, which might give us an issue. Interesting. Right, we will investigate more. Right, so we just tried that again, and it's like, don't do live demos, Tyler. It's now 14 volts like it should be. So let's just try that one more time. Let's try a live demo. And if you watch it, you can see the voltage fall as the capacitance in the circuit holds on to that charge for a little bit. You can see it decay away down to 12.5 it'll get to, and then if we start the car again, you see the voltage drop when we use the starter motor. But let's have a look. Is it going to go up again, Tyler? Here it goes.
There it is.
Up to 14, and I think it's going to stay there. So that should stay there fairly steady now. Don't know what happened before. Maybe it just takes a while for the alternator and the electrics to kick in. Right, so there we go it. So now let's get Bernard's circuit out and see if Bernard's trickery will give us the switching we need to sort of, I'm trying to get to as close to plug and play as possible for a Garmin dash cam. Let's go and have a look. Right, so this is the board that iSpect and Bernard has designed for us. So you can see that we have got an input side, and we have got the battery positive and the negative. So they're the two inputs that we're going to get from that loom that we've just fitted, the red and the black wire. And then this board is then going to take two wires and create three. It's going to create the earth, which is obviously just going to pass straight through, the battery positive, which is just going to pass straight through, and it's also then got a circuit in here that looks for the voltage change and gives you what it knows in its ignition live. So you've got the three wires there. Now, why do we need an ignition live and a battery live? So we touched on this a little bit just now, but basically a dash cam, if you have it just comes on with your ignition, it just records with as you're driving or as your ignition's on, which is great for 99% of the time. But some people also want it to record, and they come, here's our little dash cam here, our little Garmin Mini. It has a feature built in where we'll record and save some recording if it detects some motion when you're not in the car. But you need to get a special adapter circuit for this to control this. And what this circuit does here, you have to, I think it's about £20, you get this circuit here, and this has got 3 inputs. So basically the 3 inputs here are negative, battery, and ACC, which stands for accessory or ignition. So we can wire those 3 directly into our board. So it saves having to run a wire down the A pillar in behind the dash and pick up on a fuse, etc. And that will then allow our car to record. But this box is clever. If you go and park your car somewhere busy for a long time, like an airport car park. God, airport car parks seem a long distant memory, don't they, Tyler? Not busy anymore. If you park your car there and leave it for 2 weeks, then what will happen is it will keep seeing things, and it would eventually just run your battery down over a period of time. So this little circuit here that Garmin have designed detects your voltage, and when your voltage, battery voltage drops from 12.5 to 12 to 11.5, as it starts to drain, it shuts the system down. So basically this is a battery protection circuit and stops you over a long period reducing your battery. So that's what that box of trickery does. So we are going to first plug this into the car and let's see if Bernard's circuit works and takes battery live and gives us battery live and ignition live. Right, so we have connected in there. I'm going to put this bit of zoom on, Tyler. There we go. So you can see that we've put the red and the black that go up into our little loom there. So we're sort of parasitically tapping into the signals for the overhead console. We haven't called the emergency services yet, have we? We haven't had anything. So we seem to be working all right. We got no error messages, so we're looking good. Right, so now you can see at the bottom there you've got the USB. Now that's got a light built in. So cunningly, Bernard's designed it with a light. So as we power up, the light will come on when the USB goes live. But we're for now interested in these 3 output terminals. And we've got 0 and battery. So if the top one's 0 volts, if you can test the top one and the middle one, Tyler, and that should be battery voltage. So if I look at the display there, you can see we have indeed got battery voltage. And if you go on the last one, the ignition, Tyler, yeah, the bottom one, then we have got 0 volts because we haven't got the ignition on. Now if I cunningly start it, you will see now that when the light goes on, the LED will go on that USB in a moment. Live demos, the voltage builds up, the car does a little. There we go. I have to give it a rev then, I think. And there you see that's now gone to 14 and the LED has come on the USB. So that is going to do exactly what it to do. We've now generated 3 signals from 2, or 2 from 1 if you want to be specific. So we are now going to wire in our dash cam and see if it does what we need it to do. Right, so we're going to just check this USB. Now obviously USB is not 12 volts, it's 5 volts. So not only has that wizard Bernard managed to split this signal into ignition and battery, he's also managed to step the voltage down from 12 volts to 5 volts. So right, well hopefully all my phone's going to get blown up. So let's plug this in here and see if when I start the engine, so it's not charging now, it should charge when that light goes on, shouldn't it? If I hold it up there, we can see when the light goes on. Again, I think a bit of rev's helped. There we go, and there we go, my phone is charging. So it will, obviously it's not intended as a phone charger, but it's just to show you that the voltage and that all the wiring is correct to trigger on that. Flipping brilliant. Bernard, you're a wizard. I'll send the link to Bernard. He knows he's a wizard anyway. Right, okay, so what are we going to do now, Tyler? We are now going to wire in that little box of trickery for the Garmin box, tuck it in up here somewhere, connect it all up and see if that Garmin Mini does what it's supposed to do, yeah?
Give it a go.
Give it a go. So this is the item. So actually one of you guys out there in YouTube world said to me, Simon, I've bought one of these, can you show me how to wire it in? Now, admittedly, that was about 4 months ago, but you can see we're working on it. We do listen to you guys. We do really appreciate your comments and your ideas. So we bought the very same one. He said it was good, so I thought I'm not going to argue. I'm not a dash cam expert. So we have bought this, and we've already opened it, but I think it will come a little neater packed. We've just sort of rammed it in here. But I thought I would show you what you do get in one of these. You get some instructions. We're rubbish at reading instructions. Right then, you get an opened bag, obviously, because we've opened it. What are we getting in here, Tyler? We're getting a power lead. Ah, you see, this is where we're... Now, this is... So if you... This is a USB power. So if you need a USB power supply, you can't connect to an Ignition Live. It's 12 volts. You need to connect to an Ignition Live activated USB. So often these are your cigarette lighter type thing that comes live. And then on the other end, it's got a nice right angle connector that goes to a micro USB. I think that's what they're called, isn't it, Tyler? Yeah, Tyler knows all this stuff. Right, so there we go. So, but we don't need that. Although you could, in theory, plug that into the USB on Bernard's tricky board. But there's no point because we've hardwired in the... But yeah, actually, you could just take this. If you didn't want the recording when your ignition's off feature, you could buy this, you buy Bernard's board, buy our interface loom, and you'd plug all that in and you'd be good to go with minimal wiring or looking for things. So that's good. Right. Oh, we got another. Is that like a longer lead, Tyler? We've got 2 leads with that. There we go. Right, 2 leads. Gosh. And yeah, so that is the USB power that you would get from 12 volts. So that will take 12 volts ignition from your, and it gives you a spare as well, so you could charge your phone. Right. That is a little sticky pad by the looks of it, Tyler. A spare sticky pad. You know, you're right. Right, so that must stick on your window. And then that is there. And then we put that memory card in, didn't we, Tyler? Yeah. I don't think you get a memory card with it. It gets one of those. So you have to buy yourself one of those micro SD ones of those. So that is what you get. So all we need to do now, right, where's the USB? Where's the USB, Tyler? There. So all we need to do now is take one of these. No, we don't need these leads because we've got the Garmin. We bought this little thing here, look, the Garmin, and this is the one where it's got the 3 wires that we screwed onto the terminal and comes to the USB. So let's go and try that now. So let's have a look what we've done here. Right, we've got some light in here. Sorry, it's a bit gloomy in here. Right, so let's have a look. So this is Bernard's board. We've connected, and he's covered it all up, but we've gone, the black goes to the negative, the red goes to the ACC, I think, doesn't it?
Yep.
They're labelled anyway.
Yep.
That's the Ignition Live. And the yellow went to the battery 12 volts.
Yep.
Yes, right. And that has given us an output. There's an inline fuse, and that goes, interesting, they've only fused one of them. That goes to the magic box, which we need to lose. And then on the end of this wire, they've given us a long wire. That's right, we've got plenty of room to, oh my goodness me, I feel like a magician. And then on the end of this, Tyler has ingeniously, he's threaded the little USB port there, and this is going to form our lead wire. So I guess I'm going to have to, I'm just trying to work out how I do this yet. So I'm going to
buy the ruler for us though.
No, you can't buy the ruler. We're not a dealer of rulers. Right then, have a little rummage around. There we go. I can hear something. Come on.
It's like mice in the roof.
We have got some mice in the roof. Oh. There we go. Whoa. Well, you have to do a little bit of fertling around, and then we should better take all that. I guess you could wrap it up in something, and we can chuck all that up behind there. They could do a professional install at least, couldn't they? Right then. And then have we got enough wire on that one, hopefully, to get that up and behind there. Right, so we reconnected both connectors. Tyler pointed out as I was putting in, one of the connectors wasn't connected. We've put all the bits of wires up there. We made sure we've got none getting in the way, and that should enable us to push that back up into place. Now again, I'd recommend you do a slightly better job, and we're just lashing this up to try it. maybe some cable ties, tie things up so they're not going to rattle around up there. But at least you haven't got to go cutting too many wires or taking your A-pillar trim. Now we've got this here, so if we undo this and then connect the connect our little GoPro, we stick this on the windscreen. I don't know how to do that quite this minute. Right, and now I guess sits on the windscreen like so, doesn't it? And we can put that to the side. I guess we could put it up the side there, couldn't we?
Yeah.
And we can feed that wire back in and get that super neat. That's looking good, isn't it, Tyler? Now, so we're ready to test. We need to get the app on our phone. So that should now be operational and detecting movement. I will clean the windscreen. Let me clean the windscreen. I'm going to stick that on. Okay, so we're ready to stick it on now. Now, we've connected it to the phone, and this isn't going to be a full how to use it demo. But one thing you've got to watch is we actually did mount this, and we've just unstuck it because we actually had it nice and close to this. Let me zoom in a bit. I'm a bit zoomed out here. We had it really close to this plastic mount in here, but the angle of view is so wide on the dash cam, half the image was taken up. So if we just turn before we stick it on, let me just show you that. So it might be worth you doing this. So if we start the car, so you have to start the car, because if you plug it in, the light will be on because it's in parking mode. But in parking mode, it's very it conserves power, so it turns off the Bluetooth, so you can't connect your phone to it. So you'll see it will go green. Now when it's gone solid red, like it is now, you know it's recording now. So solid red. And if you've got two red lights on, you see this second red light here at the side, that means the microphone's on, and you just press that side button to turn so we've got the single red light on. And now Tyler can connect on his phone through the app. Okay, and again we'll put the link to the instructions, so we'll get the live feed on there. Or if I look at the right screen, oh, hold on, connect to fail. Here we go. There it is. Right, so if you position that, Tyler, position it close to the plastic camera first. Just hold it there. He's going to give it a clean. But just if you just hold it close to don't stick it on yet. And now I just wanted to show people how when you position it. Yeah, don't worry too much about the wire for the minute. When you position it close, you can see, you tilt it down, you see on the side of the image you get the plastic casing in. So there you go. If you just move it out about it, and the other thing to watch is you can see on the windscreen the arc of the wipers. So you want to make sure the lens is outside of that. So I would, to be sure, stick it. You don't even want to be sticking it in there because it's got quite a wide angle of view. But luckily the wipers are designed to wipe over the cameras that are behind the rear view mirror, so you've got quite a good view up there. Go on then, Tyler, go for it.
I think.
Yeah. Man, that's it. And then you can adjust the camera to have get it nice and level. That's got a good field of view. So there you go. You can see where we've positioned it. It's not going to get in the way if you put your visor down. It's only, there you go, that's not gonna disrupt you too much. Right, so we have got it connected. We've proved it. Right, when you're on blue, when the light is blue, it means you've got a solid connection to your phone, and from your phone you can play back data from the memory card. But most of the time you're just looking for a solid red camera, for a solid red light, which means you're recording. When it's in parking mode, you'll have a flashing red light to signify it's detected some action. So there we go, we've disconnected, we've got the solid light. So I think that's a pretty easy install, and it looks like a good camera. Again, I've got no connection or benefit to Garmin, it's just someone suggested, and it looks pretty neat. We're happy with that, aren't we, Tyler? Right, we will, let us know what you think. Let us know if you want to get those parts made. We will get them made. We'll get Bernard to make some boards up for us, and we'll get those for sale on the website. But let us know your thoughts.